Everybody, PC Outcast here, back with more Everlasting Summer, and we are on the last official girl route. Alisa, that lovely temper tantrum throwing girl that likes to tie her shirt around her boobs. So we're gonna go for her good route, and that starts by not running away when she threatens us. And that's fine. I'm interested in seeing what happens when you do go for the cutlet. You don't try and take the cutlet. I assume we're going to do that at some point. And I don't believe anything here matters at all. We just need to bet with Alisa. Apparently we get 2 points for betting with Alisa and 2 points for winning against her in the card game. That's a lot of points. Whatever, go alone, that doesn't matter. Alright, so first of all, wow, 2 points. Bam. And win. Oh, okay, this should be new information right here, actually. Win against Alisa. Oh, no. Oh, we got shot of her butt. Pretty much. So this is day 3, I believe. The one against Alisa. Maybe this is still the same day. I don't know. Oh, go take a look. I should go take a look. Yes. Oh yes. Here's where we, she plays a little tune for us. Accept her offer. Whatever, run away. It's fine. Aha! A few minutes later, I approached the stage. Maybe it was a bad idea accepting her offer? Just talking to means danger. On the other hand, I wasn't eager to go to the dance. What can I do there? I'd only disgraced myself. No, I'm better off listening to Alisa play the guitar. Coming closer, I saw a person sitting on the edge of the stage with their legs dangling. So you came after all. Alisa put the guitar aside and jumped to the ground. There was even a trace of joy on her face for a moment. Playing for someone is surely more interesting than being alone, as you can see. What are we gonna do? What do you mean, what? I'm asking you. Well, I got a sudden idea that this situation is one of her usual pranks, and I should never have accepted to hear any guitar songs. I'm going to bed, bye! I turned around and waved a hand unintentionally slowly. Hey! Alisa grabbed my sleeve. What? Don't you want to listen? Listen to what? You yourself don't know what you're going to do. Of course I know. She got the guitar and hit the strings with a plectrum a couple of times. Sat next to me. I didn't object, and in a moment I was sitting beside her. It's better this way. Miss the dance, leave now, and then what would I do? The role of a stranger was more suitable for a passive observer and not for the eager seeker of answers, who I wanted to be so badly. So I'll show you how to play this song now. Just like that, right away? What do you mean right away? I haven't held a guitar for a long time. She could probably guess how long it had been since I had held one. My skills were enough to make a cat laugh. It's not difficult. I threw an intense look at Alisa. It distinctly seems to me now that she just can't express her feelings. She could lose her strange self-control for a moment, and I'd get to see a casual and even funny and friendly girl. And then, when her self-confidence and impudence turned back on, it was bitchiness, as usual. And which is the real one? Hey, what? Stop daydreaming. Oh yeah, sorry. So are you watching? I am. What song is this? The one I played this morning, of course. Oh, okay. I'm listening. Alyssa made up her mind and started to play. That's it? Did you get everything? I may have understood it, but I probably won't be able to replicate it. How shall I put it? It's okay, practice makes perfect. She's undoubtedly right on this point, but I've had problems with practice all my life. Well, took the guitar from Alisa and tried to play the first chord. It was hard, as if my fingers were tied in a knot and didn't want to be in the right place. I used to be better before, but now I wouldn't even be able to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Well, wait a moment. Looks like you won't be a rock hero. She laughed kindly. It may be better this way, I hissed, vainly trying to remember the order of strings to press. Well, the guitar started to make devilish sounds resembling the groans of a wounded dinosaur. My left hand fingers constantly missed the right frets, and my right hand didn't strike in rhythm. Let's call that progressive rock. Progressive? Well, give it back. She took the guitar away, and it sounded completely different in her hands. I felt embarrassed by my clumsiness for a moment. Alyssa's skill may not be on the level of a professional guitarist, but nevertheless, she played simple things like this with confidence. She must have had a lot of practice. Did you get it this time? She finished and offered the guitar to me. Well, is well like literally the only word he can say. I did better the second time, but it was still a long way from Alyssa's level. Or from any decently adequate level. I was aware of how totally worthless I was compared to her. It seems so simple, just play a song with 3 chords. The tune is too simple though. I put the guitar aside. Alisa was lost in thought for a moment. Even a preschool kid could play it better. Thanks. I tried. So I noticed. She might be trying to demonstrate her evident superiority at playing the guitar. It's not like everyone can be a musician. Not really. Alisa looked up at the sky. Though you can't be one, that's for sure. Why is that? You should have heard yourself. Started to regret coming here. Well, don't mind me. Why does Alisa need to do this? It's obvious that I'm a horrible guitarist. Obviously. But if I had some practice. So, will you practice? I don't know. Maybe I will. The guitar was the least of my problems, though. I'm stuck in a strange world I can't escape from. That's more important than a stupid argument with Alisa. I suddenly felt an annoying self-pity, apathy, and an urge to leave this place, to forget this evening. Those feelings left a nasty impression and a burning desire to do or say something stupid. As if it would change anything. What? Me learning to play the guitar? You surely couldn't. You'd strum the guitar for a couple of days and give it up. Alisa's words pierced my heart. You know what? Oh well, should she know? Is it any concern of hers? I'm reacting this way just because it's true and that it's Alisa who spoke that truth. You can't know how to do everything. Probably not. But you should be able to at least do something. So are you saying that I can't do anything? How should I know? You know I what? Should I tell her about my computer skills? Or about the books I've read, the movies I've watched? Ah well, this is a pointless conversation. That goes without saying. You're only concerned with having fun. And you do nothing but whine. Forget it. I jumped down from the stage and walked away from the concert area. Go then. I heard Alisa yelling at me. I'm already going. I hissed. The path led me back to the square. There was Slavia in the center of it, sweeping the area. Oh, Simeon, hi. I thought everyone was already asleep. No, what are you doing? Cleaning up after the ball. Why didn't you come? And where have you been? I hadn't the slightest intention of telling Slavia how I embarrassed myself on stage with a guitar in front of Alisa while the whole camp was having fun at the square. I took a walk. Okay, but you should have come. It was fun. Glad you enjoyed yourself. I've been sweating like a pig today because of the worries or just the hot night. Hey, do you know where I can have a bath? Certainly. Go straight, then a bit to the left by the path, then to the right, and there will be a bathhouse. Should I accompany you? No need. I'll find it myself. I totally didn't want to burden her more. I walked along the forest path in the direction Slavia showed. My whole body was itching. How didn't I notice it before? And more importantly, what else hadn't I noticed? If things keep going like this, then I'll have to stay in this world forever. I shivered at the thought. Probably at the idea that I didn't feel any terror or even just fear. Just like it's all the natural flow of things. I could see a bathhouse behind the trees. And why do the pioneers have baths here? Olga had said something about repairs to the showers, though. No reason to worry about that now. There was soap and clean towels, so I quickly washed myself, went outside, and breathed in a chest full of fresh night air. Ah, it's so wonderful that physical cleanliness brings spiritual cleanliness. All of my problems, if not went away, then at least became less important. It's like the water washed away not only the dirt from my body, but also the anxiety from my mind. I suddenly started yawning, so I headed to the leader's cabin, rubbing my eyes. I didn't take even a few steps before Alisa jumped out from the bushes. You! What are you doing here? I was just washing myself. She came to her senses and spoke again. And? And what? How should I know? Then why do you speak if you don't know? All my peace of mind vanished in a moment. Only the irritation and weariness remained. Okay, well, if you don't mind. Wait. Now what? If back there on the stage you thought that, well, I didn't want to offend you or anything. It's okay, I'm not offended. I just can't play the guitar. Nothing special. A lot of people can't. I felt that there were obvious signs of irritation in my voice, but I couldn't do anything about it. I wanted to say everything to her face right here, right now. Exactly, you can't. Alisa obviously restrained herself from laughing. Oh, I've already had enough of you. She totally drove me out of my wits at that moment. In another second, I would have started to yell at her. Or worse. Wait. Would you just leave me alone? Alisa followed me, but didn't try to stop me. I really didn't want to offend. I don't want to offend, I just want to, tell you you're a useless piece of crap. Some invisible power made me turn around. Okay, can I go now? Yes, of course. In the moonlight, Alisa looked very beautiful, with a brief, guilty expression on her face. If she could only keep her mouth shut. Ooh, what are you smirking at? Although, nothing. I just thought that if only you were a little bit more polite. Then what? I shouldn't say such things. People could get ideas, depending on their intellectual abilities. Then, nothing. You should finish what you started. There's nothing to finish. I'm very tired and I'm going to sleep. Stop right there. Don't make me run away from you. As if you could. She may be right. I am already exhausted from this day, and naturally I had no intention of running after a bath. So what? What? If only I would be more polite, then what? Try it and you will see. Why should I do anything for a fool like you? Then don't try. What does it have to do with me? I sighed and dragged myself to the square. And what about you then? What? I replied without turning to her. Well, if I would, then you? I don't know what you're talking about, but let's think that I would if it's easier for you. Moron. Alisa yelled at me and headed to the bathhouse. The square shined with the cleanliness of a German road, which were washed with shampoo, or so people said. That's Slavia for you. And I just argued with Alisa and nothing else. What for? As if it was really necessary. And her behavior. In any other situation, I would have surely said that Alisa likes me and just hides it behind her rudeness. That's not important right now, though. Relationships, love, anything. Maybe she isn't even a human. And what if she was a human and all this was happening in the real world? I drove those thoughts away and headed to the leader's cabin. Tiredness had overwhelmed me. It was like an invisible obstacle stopped me in front of the door. Olga certainly would like to know where I was and why I missed the dance. I'll get a full interrogation for sure. Counting the absence of Alisa at the dance too, it wouldn't be hard to guess that we'd skipped it together. On the other hand, should I even tell her that instead of going to the dance, Alisa practiced playing the guitar and I just went along with the flow? Nothing special, actually. Doesn't really matter why I left, so... At the same time, I thought it would be better to keep silent. Well, I'll decide on the spot. I sighed and pulled the door handle. Olga was already waiting for me, wearing a dress. So, Semyon, where have you been? Apparently I need to make up another excuse. This will improve my relationship with Alisa. I was just walking around. Alone? Yeah. Okay, that's not important. Why didn't you come to the ball? Well, frankly speaking, I don't like dancing. So what? It was a camp public event, which means every pioneer had to attend. She looked at me intently. You could just sit somewhere quietly. I'm sorry. I sighed. Okay. The leader softened. Go to bed quickly. The storm had passed. Uh-huh. And I fell fast asleep. I tossed and turned but couldn't sleep. My head was full of thoughts about music, guitars, and Alisa. I wonder, could I become a professional musician? Do I even want to be one? Why should I want to? Certainly would be fun, but nothing else. Or is Alisa the reason? She really is like an energy vampire sucking all your juices. Yeah, you want her to suck your juices, you pervert. My eyes started to close and I fell asleep a moment after. Weirdness, man. I looked at Alisa attentively and suddenly remembered yesterday evening, her strange behavior, our quarrel. But now she looked like usual. Maybe there's no need to say anything to her. Though I wasn't going to. At the end of the day, everything that happened that night stopped seeming unusual, as if it was all just a dream. No way! Really, I need to go to the boathouse first. Okay, then we get... Oh, right, then we get the whole Alisa thingy, and then the second choice doesn't matter. Don't go with Miku? I don't know. Apparently I had even saying don't go to with Miku, I have to go with Miku. Don't ask about the bundle, that's fine. There we go, now we're gonna give her the activated carbon. But you never know. What if she really has an ache? Okay. I reached into the drawer and got out a packet of our activated carbon. Thanks. She wrested it from my hand and ran away. Okay, that's all. And then this doesn't matter. I'll just leave the apple. Besides, he gave me the activated carbon. Oh, thanks. She pointed at me with her finger. The whole square stared at me. Thoughts about the pointlessness of this act due to the small bomb size left me at that very moment. She stole it. I did nothing. Even if he gave it to you, I'm sure that Semyon would never take part in such disgusting antisocial act. Yes, exactly. I agreed. I could hardly imagine how long... Well, that didn't really matter. Blah, 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 blah. And now we go... Find Shirik with Alisa. And... Jeff goes with you. It was as if Olga had read my mind. Why is that? Well, who tried to blow up the monument? And as if that wasn't enough, who also tried to slander Semyon? She said it in such a voice that Alisa did not dare to argue. Happy now? She blurted once we were left alone. What do I have to do with this? Was it me who tried to blow up the monument? Alisa grunted and turned away. I'm not going anywhere with you. Oh, please don't. Great then. Excellent. We stood silently for a while, not looking at each other. I dared break the silence first. Is that all? All what? All that you wanted to tell me? Yes, that's all. Do you mind, then, if I inquire why you tried to blow up the monument? I was bored. Ah, right. Blowing it up would have definitely cheered you up. Alisa seemed really reluctant to go with me. As for me, however, I decided to find Shirik after all. It wasn't him who interested me the most, but the abandoned camp. For some reason, I had a feeling that I might find out something there. And I really did not like the idea of going alone at night. So you scared then? Are you daring me? She gave me a sarcastic smile. Oh no, I'd never. Good luck if you're staying then. I turned around and started walking in the direction where the old camp should have been. Alisa caught up with me at the forest edge. Wait up. I'm going with you. Why did you deign to change your mind all of a sudden? I asked ironically. You don't need to know. She snarled and handed me a flashlight. That was quite wise. I don't know what I would have done there alone in the dark if it wasn't for Alisa. Electronique had told us that the old building was built right after the war. It looked like a kindergarten, or like a barracks, I expected, and definitely could hold fewer pioneers than today's camp. It had been abandoned for about 20 years. The night forest was completely unlike during the day. Just a couple of hours ago, it seemed like just a small grove where even a blind man wouldn't get lost. However, as the darkness fell, the trees seemed to grow up. The bushes suddenly took up all the free space, and the paths so wide in daylight turned into barely visible waves in the dark green forest ocean. The final strokes to this picture were the birds, the insects, and the beasts who were giving a concert, each with its own instrument, creating together an amazing yet frightening nocturnal symphony. We walked slowly, Alisa a bit ahead and me in her wake, trying not to fall too far behind. She acted self-assured to a fault, absolutely not like me. Every rustle of the bushes nearby or a hoot of an owl overhead made me cringe and look around timidly. Of course, it was obvious that there was not much to fear here. The local woods weren't likely to be teeming with wild beasts, and it seemed there were no people at all in this world apart from those in the camp. However, the fear was there on the instinctive level, and I tried to walk carefully and to stay as watchful as I could. Discretion is the better part of valor, after all. Alisa stopped suddenly, so suddenly that I nearly bumped into her. Now where? What? Well, straight ahead, I guess. Are you sure? I tried to figure out the directions. It looks like we were going the right way, or at least the way suggested by Electronique. However, without a map, without a GPS, or GLONASS navigation, I wasn't even sure that we were still on the same planet, wherever it was. We haven't taken any turns. We've been walking straight forward all the time, just like Electronique said. Then why haven't we made it to the old camp yet? How should I know? Alisa's rude way of talking was already getting on my nerves. Are we already lost? Why would you say that? We're barely a kilometer away from the camp. So what? She looked visibly sadder. So nothing. If you don't like it, you can go back. Alisa eyed me disappointedly for a while, and then her face changed sharply. Well, I will then. She suddenly turned around and started marching briskly back towards the camp. Good luck there. I shouted as she was going. However, Alisa may be right, and we were in fact lost, in which case it's not a good idea to stay here alone. A cool night breeze blew stronger, and I shivered. But going after her would mean losing face, or even worse, admitting that she's right. No, I'm not ready to accept that. I could have probably spent until morning arguing with myself about this if it weren't for Alisa's scream. My legs carried me on their own towards where she went. About 20 meters on, I nearly fell into a hole, just managing to jump over it at the last moment. As for Alisa, it looked like she had not managed to. I was about to point the flashlight into the darkness when I realized that she'd taken it with her. Well, that had to be expected. Are you alive? Yeah. Her muffled voice sounded up from below. Did you break anything? Hell if I know, idiot. A light flickered in the hole. I stepped closer and bent to it to examine how deep it was. The crumbling hole went about 3 meters into the depths, but it was pitch black below. Help me get out, Alisa yelled angrily. And how do you imagine I should do that? I don't know, think of something. Well, what do you see now? Describe it. Well, it's sort of a tunnel. And, nah, just a tunnel. A tunnel? That's weird. Come on, get down here. Is that the best idea you have? I'd rather run to the camp for a rope. You're gonna leave me here alone? Alyssa's voice lost much of its impudence. But you're alone down there anyway. Hey! She cried out loud and directed the flashlight right into my eyes. Well, don't panic. Trolls aren't going to eat you there. I'll be back in a flash. Alyssa was screaming herself into a fit from down below, but I couldn't make out the words. However, I only managed to take a few steps before the ground yielded under my feet, and before I knew it, I was tumbling down. I grabbed a thin root that somehow slowed down my fall. But it snapped under my weight and I went flying down with me. Are you alive? I barely opened one eye as I felt a searing spotlight upon me. Put it away. Liz was squatting next to me and looking at me in a nervous manner. Any limbs broken? I don't know. I've moved my hands and feet. Everything seemed to be fine. Given the height, I was pretty lucky to make it down alive. I barely managed to stand up and examine the crash site. Indeed, we were in some kind of long corridor. There was some kind of heavy wiring all along the walls and lamps encased in heavy metal holders attached to the ceiling. In any other situation, I would have guessed that it was a subway service tunnel, but it was hardly likely that Sovyanok has already reached such level of infrastructure. Where are we? I don't know, but we have to get out of here. Climbing the crumbling wall was hardly an option. In fact, I was wondering how we even survived a fall from such a height. Didn't he say 3 meters? It's only 15 feet. I mean, breaking bones, but unless they land on your head, you're probably not going to die. Well, it seems that we've got to find an exit somewhere else. How do we do that? She asked, slowly turning pale. Not a single... Sorry, did I say 3 meters is 15 feet? That's like 9 feet. At 3 meters? You're not going to die from falling 3 meters. Not a single trace of her usual arrogance remained on her face. Well, I guess there's got to be an exit here, right? Probably, but which way do we go? Now that's a good question. First glance, it seemed like a good idea to head towards the camp, at least in the direction I thought it was, but I hadn't seen anything there that resembled an exit from the catacombs, and that means that we should rather try the opposite direction. Give me that. I snatched the flashlight from Alisa's hand and pointed its light into the darkness. That way. There. We were slowly proceeding forward, with Alisa keeping a firm grip on my hand. In other circumstances, I might have been surprised, embarrassed, or even rejoiced. How should I know? But right now, I was just eager to get out of here as soon as possible. My bruises from the fall were aching. The blood was pulsing in my head like a heavy pendulum. Even the flickering spotlight that kept illuminating the same cement walls continually wasn't exactly raising our morale. Damn. There's also Shirak. What? Why did he go into the night force in the first place? Why did we go? To find Shirak? Oh, just forget him. He might have fallen down here just like us. Of course, Alisa has a point. This wasn't exactly the best time to engage in a search mission. If we don't manage to get out of here, there would be a search mission for us instead. But I couldn't just take my mind off this thought. It was as if Shirak was standing right before my eyes, giving me a reproachful look. "Look out!" Alisa yelled. I almost crashed into a massive metal door. A biohazard sign immediately caught my eye. "This means that we're in a bomb shelter," I mumbled under my breath. "Yeah, I've heard something like that." "You have? Why didn't you mention it before?" "How would I know it'd be important?" "I guess you're right. Fine." I grasped the door's wheel and pushed it as hard as I could, trying to turn it. Rusty metal grated, but refused to budge. "Stop slacking, help me." Alisa hesitated a little bit, but then grasped the handle and started to pull. Finally, we managed to turn the wheel, and the door opened. It was hard to mistake the room we entered for anything else. It was definitely a bomb shelter. Cabinets full of gas masks and dry rations, lots of equipment, bunk beds, and air recirculation systems. There was everything one would need to survive a nuclear war. Well, at least survive the first blast. Alisa clenched my arm even tighter. "What is it?" What? She blabbered under her breath. "I'm scared." "What are you scared of?" "Indeed, what of?" We tumbled down into an abandoned bomb shelter. Now we're wandering here in the dark, trying to find an exit. Oh yeah, nothing to be afraid of. Those thoughts made me squirm, and I instinctively drew nearer to Alisa. She didn't say anything, but just blushed a little and turned her back to me. Well, in any case. What? "We have to keep searching for an exit." "Well, there's another door." Indeed, there was a door on the far wall, just like the one that we came in through. However, no matter how hard I tried to open it, it was stuck. Need some help? Nope, it's jammed for good. I glanced around the room, trying to find something that would work as a lever, and noticed a crowbar in the far corner. Great. Alyssa gave me a blank stare. Watch it. However, I still couldn't move the handle an inch, or even using the crowbar. Totally exhausted, I flopped on a neatly made bunk and gave a sigh. We have to walk back. But we just came from there. Alyssa seemed to regain a bit of her self-control, as well as her usual rudeness. Well, you can stay here if you want. There's water, ration kits, probably the radio's still working. She looked at me spitefully, but said nothing. My whole body ached terribly. It was only now that I tried to relax that I began to realize how badly. A deep wound on my leg was bleeding profusely. My hands were heavily bruised. Blood was thickening in my hair. And are you okay? I asked Alyssa, either just out of curiosity or because I was really worried about her. It took her some time to answer. How can we be okay in a situation like this? Well, I mean that... I pointed to the wound on my leg. Oh, cried Alyssa. We need to sanitize it urgently. No need, I'll survive. Oh, stop. We must do it, or you'll risk getting infected, and then they'll take your leg off. My granddad lost his leg that way in the war. Alyssa looked truly concerned, and I decided not to argue. Okay, but it's kind of a long way to the infirmary. Hang on. She smiled and started to rummage through the cabinets. There was a fair chance of finding some kind of medicine in the bomb shelter, and soon enough, Alyssa pulled out a first aid kit with a triumphant look. Okay, hold still. Well, I'll try. Treating the wound with an iodine-soaked cotton swab felt like the touch of a red-hot iron. I clenched my teeth hard and hissed with pain. Oh, come on. It's not that painful. It is. Maybe you should try it yourself. It was easier with my other wounds, and soon enough I looked like a leopard, all covered in brown spots. Thanks. Don't you think that it was anything special? Don't you think it was anything special? We just had to treat your wounds. Alyssa snorted and turned her back to me. Sure, sure. I refrained from arguing and got up from the bunk. Even a short rest had definitely been good for me. Well, shall we go? And on that note, we'll leave this episode and we'll carry on next time. Thanks very much for joining me, guys. See you then.